Hello and welcome to the Times of India. You're watching Global Pulse with me, Neha Khanna. Is Donald Trump ushering in a new and dangerous era of American imperialism? First, the stunning attack on Venezuela and the brazen capture of its president. Now, Trump and his cronies are openly threatening other countries. From Colombia to Cuba, Mexico to Iran, even Greenland, an autonomous territory under Danish sovereignty. Over the weekend, US Army Delta Force units carried out a rapid operation to capture Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, removing him from power in what officials described as a targeted extraction mission. Trump has since announced that Secretary of State Marco Rubio will help oversee Venezuela's affairs, though the administration has not clarified what governing authority that entails. Trump also sent a pointed message to governments across the region. Leaders in Colombia, Mexico and other neighboring nations have been warned that US action could extend beyond Venezuela, signaling that Washington expects compliance and subservience, or else there will be dire consequences. Trump has also renewed his long-standing interest in acquiring Greenland, arguing that the territory is critical to American security interests. Both Greenland's government and Denmark, a US NATO ally, have firmly rejected the proposal. At the same time, Trump has threatened renewed pressure on Iran, saying the United States could intervene militarily if Iranian authorities continue to suppress anti-government protests. Following the detention of Maduro over the weekend, which many have described as a kidnapping of the head of a sovereign state, Trump declared, and I quote, "We are in the business of having countries around us that are viable and successful and where the oil is allowed to freely come out. American dominance in the Western Hemisphere will never be questioned again," he said. Let's take a detailed look at how Trump has threatened multiple countries in recent days. Trump has claimed the United States needs Greenland for national security reasons. He told reporters, "We need Greenland. It's incredibly strategic right now. There are Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. Denmark can't handle it."
We need Greenland for national security. And if you take a look at Greenland, you look up and down the coast, you have Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need it for national security. We have to have it. And he wanted to lead the charge, so we're making him, Marco, today, a special envoy to Greenland. Greenland's a big deal.
Greenland's Prime Minister, Jens Frederik Nielsen, sharply criticized Trump's comments, saying the repeated rhetoric from the United States is completely unacceptable. When the American president speaks of needing Greenland and connects us to Venezuela and military intervention, it's not only inaccurate, it's deeply disrespectful. Our country is not a bargaining chip in power politics. We are a people, a nation and a democracy. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said on Monday that an American takeover of Greenland would amount to the end of the NATO military alliance. The island is a semi-autonomous territory of the Danish kingdom and thus part of NATO. The Danish and Greenland prime ministers have blasted Trump's comments and warned of catastrophic consequences. And numerous European leaders have expressed solidarity with them. The Danish prime minister stated, "If the United States chooses to attack another NATO country militarily, then everything stops. That is, including our NATO, and thus the security that has been provided since the end of the Second World War."
Piarelsima fiinissa tassuun killit toqassangaluarpat taakkua qulaajaarneri allallunaarikkersuusuningaanni ingerlappagun aamma ataavartumik ingerlattuartuuvagun soorunami pissutti ukua taavalu pissun kingullertigullu oqariartuutigineqartun naarikkersuusuningaanni isingu tamakkununga tungasuni ammarnerutilaarpaat taanna oqaatingissuara kisianni oqaqqissuunga uaniingilangut unnuaminunarputiguagaanissaani pisoqassasoq naarikkersuisun oqaloqatiginniaqqutigalungu pittaasumillu suleqatigiinner suleqatiu tamaavisa peqatigalungit pissutsin naliginnaasungoqqinnissaanut aqqutieqqortua torlungit ataqqaqatiginnerlu angoqqinnissaanut suliarassu ullum quyanarujorissua takkussinna.
Jeg er enig i, at det er vigtigt, at der er sikkerhed og fred og tryghed i det arktiske område. Det er jo derfor en af grundene til, at vi er med i NATO. Grønland er også med i NATO. Det er et fælles ansvar for de arktiske stater herunder kongeriget at sørge for, at der er sikkerhed og fred og frihed i det arktiske område. Men Danmark har altid været en god allieret til USA. Det ønsker vi fortsat at være. Men jeg bliver også nødt til at anholde noget af det, der bliver sagt fra amerikansk side, og vi vil selvfølgelig ikke affinde os med en situation, hvor man truer os og Grønland på den her måde.
Trump has repeatedly expressed interest in annexing Greenland, a massive resource-rich island spanning more than 836,000 square miles. He has cited both security and economic reasons. Greenland and Denmark have consistently rejected the idea. In the last few days, Trump has also launched a personal attack on Colombian President Gustavo Petro, calling him a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States. When asked whether that rhetoric suggested a possible US operation in Colombia, similar to the one in Venezuela, Trump replied, "Sounds good to me."
We have a very sick neighbor. It's not a neighbor, but it's close to a neighbor. And that's Venezuela. It's very sick. Colombia is very sick too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States. And he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you.
What does that mean? He's not going to be doing it very long.
He's not doing it very long. He has cocaine mills and cocaine factories. He's not going to be doing it very long.
So there will be an operation by the U.S. and
it sounds good to me.
Petro responded with a lengthy statement highlighting what he called the largest cocaine seizure ever recorded and defending his government's anti-narcotics efforts. Petro, a former member of the M19 guerrilla movement, has said he would personally fight to defend Colombia if necessary. He stated, "I swore never to carry a weapon again, but for my country, I would take up arms once more." Relations between Petro and Washington deteriorated last year after he urged US troops to disobey orders, prompting the Trump administration to revoke his US visa. Trump has also trained his guns on Cuba. He recently said military intervention in Cuba would not be necessary as the government is collapsing already. He argued that Cuba has lost its main source of income, Venezuelan oil, and may not survive much longer.
One of the things that is happening, and I think you see it all the time, Howard, you've seen it, that Cuba is ready to fall. You know? Yes. Cuba looks like it's ready to fall. I don't know if they can hold out. But Cuba now has no income. They got all of their income from Venezuela, from the Venezuelan oil. They're not getting any of it. And Cuba literally is ready to fall. And you have a lot of great Cuban Americans that are going to be very happy about this.
You were just talking about Cuba and what could come next there. Are you considering U.S. action in Cuba?
We're not. I think it's just going to fall. I don't think we need any action. It looks like it's going down. It's going down for the count. You ever watch a fight?
Secretary of State Marco Rubio has called Cuba's government a huge problem. He said, "I think they're in serious trouble. I won't discuss our next steps, but it's no secret that we are not supporters of the Cuban regime. If I worked for the Cuban government, I'd be worried." Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel has vowed to defend the alliance with Venezuela. Then there is Mexico, that Trump has once again accused of failing to curb drug cartels, saying drugs were pouring across the border. He said the cartels are very strong. Mexico has to get its act together. Trump says he has offered Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum US military assistance to combat the cartels. Sheinbaum has consistently rejected US intervention in Venezuela and condemned Maduro's seizure. She also pushed back on Trump's criticism, saying Mexico cooperates closely with the US to prevent fentanyl trafficking.
Dijo el presidente Trump, pero vamos a buscar siempre el entendimiento manteniendo nuestros principios firmes. Son formas de hablar del presidente Trump. Yo no creo en la invasión, no creo ni siquiera que sea algo que ellos lo estén tomando muy en serio.
And let's not forget, Iran is a country that came under US attack just last year. Trump has renewed his warnings to Iran, where anti-regime protests have entered their second week. Trump warned, if they start killing people like they have before, they're going to be hit very hard by the United States. The US is locked and loaded if Iran kills peaceful protesters, he said. Trump has also warned Iran against rebuilding its nuclear and missile programs, saying that Iran is behaving badly and would face consequences. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei responded, saying the country will not yield to the enemy and ordering authorities to suppress the unrest. In June last year, the US bombed multiple Iranian nuclear facilities during Israel's 12-day conflict with that country, effectively ending stalled diplomatic talks over Tehran's nuclear ambitions. Taken together, all these actions and brazen threats suggest a renewed era of aggressive American intervention abroad. Trump's decision to refocus US military power on the Western Hemisphere echoes a long and controversial history of US-backed regime change. For decades, the United States has intervened to intimidate rivals, protect American corporate interests, dominate trade routes, or counter ideological threats. Many experts point out that this is one of the oldest patterns in American foreign policy and that Nicolas Maduro fits a familiar profile shared by many Latin American leaders who have been removed from power over the past century as they refuse to accept US dominance over their region. And American double standards are unmistakable. While Maduro is widely viewed as an authoritarian ruler, fact is, the US tolerates similar behavior from many allied leaders, such as the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who has never won an election and is accused of ordering the murder of a fierce critic. The method used against Maduro stands out. Experts say abducting a sitting head of state crosses a dangerous line. What's worrying is that this dangerous precedent could invite similar actions by rival powers like China and Russia. Of course, American history is littered with episodes of invasion of other countries and toppling of regimes not friendly or subservient to Washington. Some observers compare Venezuela to Panama in 1989 when US forces captured dictator Manuel Noriega. However, Venezuela is far larger, more complex and lacks a permanent US military presence. While the Panama invasion succeeded militarily, it cost hundreds of civilian lives and is now commemorated in Panama as a national tragedy. Unlike past US interventions framed as promoting democracy, Trump has shown little interest in democratic outcomes. Instead, analysts say, his focus is dominance and access to resources. It's not about values, but about maximizing US power. Trump has made no secret of the fact that he wants unhindered access to Venezuelan oil. The country has the largest proven oil reserves on the planet. As tensions rise and the guessing game about who the United States may target next continues, it is clear that Trump's America has set the world on a very dangerous path. The international rules-based order has been torn to shreds, and a new dark phase of American imperialism is unfolding.